I attended somewhere in the city recently where I had an amazing time and I got to go to some really great panels and I got to meet some really inspiring YouTubers as well, and it was just overall the best weekend of my life. However, the entire time I was there, I kept thinking how unfair it was that the only conversation that was had was from the perspective of YouTubers. I think that overall YouTube culture is something that's really important and something that should be talked about, but it's not really fair if the viewer is not part of that conversation because we're half of the equation. We should be part of that conversation. And so I kind of created this channel because I am a viewer, I'm not a YouTuber, I don't know what I'm doing, and I thought that it would be really great if we could talk about YouTube culture and the problems within it and how to fix those problems, or maybe even talk about the positives and see like what's going great in this community, how can we showcase that, how can we make that better. Before I begin, I think it's really important to say that these are really complex issues and there's no like right answer for all of this. I'm really just starting the discussion and giving my perspective, and even still, like, my opinions on these issues may change and my perspective on these issues may change. So whatever I'm saying here is not necessarily set in stone and you should take it with a grain of salt. I'm really just encouraging you to have your own opinion and feel free to agree or disagree with me. The entire point of this is to start a discussion, and I want to hear your opinions and your experiences with these issues. I want to hear what you have to say. One of the panels I attended at Summer in the City this year was the YouTube Honesty Hour panel, and there were some things that were said that I don't think I necessarily agree with. Let me preface this by saying that I'm not attacking any of the YouTubers that were on the panel. They all did a wonderful job and their opinions weren't necessarily wrong, just different from mine. I think the point of the panel was not to have in-depth discussion, but more just to stir up these controversial issues. And so I don't think necessarily what was said may not reflect what the YouTubers actually think or feel, because they didn't really have time to explain their opinions and they didn't really have time to give in-depth discussion. The panelists made the comment that they don't see a problem with using the term fangirl if you're using it to describe what you are. A crying, screaming, stalking mess of a person whenever you're interacting with your favorite person, in this sense a YouTuber. They went on to say that they don't necessarily see it as a positive or negative thing, but more that it's just a verb used to describe your actions whenever you're interacting with celebrities. While I can see where they're coming from and that if you're not using it as a positive or negative thing, you're just using it to describe actions, I have to say I disagree with them. If you are a girl who likes something, if you have any mild obsession with a TV show or a movie or a book, or in this case a YouTuber, you're seen as a crazy fangirl stalker, and that's really, really offensive. And regardless of a YouTuber's perspective on it, as to whether they see it as a positive or negative thing, that doesn't change the reality that we live in, that it is a negative term that brings girls down and makes them feel bad for enjoying the things that they love. When I attend conventions as an older fan, I always feel like the perception of me as a female attending these conventions as a fan and not a creator, I'm going to be viewed as a fangirl. No matter what I do, no matter how I act, people expect me to go crazy, be crying, be screaming, simply because I'm a fan, I'm a female, and I'm attending a YouTube convention. I'm not a fangirl. I don't cry, I don't scream. I want to have intelligent conversation. I want to attend panels and listen to what you have to say. YouTubers can no longer see me as an individual with hopes and dreams and aspirations. Instead, I'm just part of the massive sea of fangirls who are crying and screaming. Why is it that we're expected to see YouTubers for all the facets that they are? They constantly tell us that you don't see the whole picture, you only see 5 minutes of my life every week. But they can't understand the idea that using the term fangirl takes away all of the individuality that we have as well. They don't want us taking away their individuality, but it's okay when they do it to us. I could continue talking about this all day, but I think I'm going to stop here. This is such a complex and big issue with so many facets that there's a lot that needs to be discussed. Please remember that there's no right answer here, and if you don't mind being called a fangirl, that's completely up to you, and that's great. But from my perspective, I really just don't appreciate the term. Most importantly, what is your opinion on this? Have you ever had any experiences with the term fangirl? Were they positive or negative? Do you mind being called a fangirl, or is it something that you wish people wouldn't use anymore? Please leave a comment or send me a message, because I would love to continue the discussion past here.